Welcome to MaseroGarage. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can bleed the brakes in your car by yourself, so stick around. To bleed the brakes, we are going to need a jack to lift up the car, an impact gun, and for the Mercedes in particular, a 17mm socket, this torque stick, and a 9mm wrench. We're also going to need some new brake fluid, and for the Mercedes we need to use this DOT4 brake fluid. To bleed the brakes, we're going to use this little pressurized one-man brake bleeder and this little canister to catch all of the old brake fluid.
Since our brake line busted and we lost all the fluid, the first thing we're going to do is to refill the master cylinder with new brake fluid. We are going to screw on the attachment that works for our master cylinder. We're going to use our leftover brake fluid to fill up the brake bleeder. Put the cap back on the bleeder, attach the hose to the master cylinder, and then we're going to pump it to about 6 psi.
After lifting up the car, we are going to use our 17mm socket to remove the lug nuts and then the wheel. We're going to start bleeding the brakes from the wheel that is furthest away from the master cylinder. So that means the rear passenger and then the rear driver, and then the front passenger and then the front driver's wheel. To begin bleeding the brakes, we need to remove this plastic cap to show the bleeding valve that's on the back of the caliper. Next, we're going to attach the rubber hose that is connected to that little plastic canister to catch all of the old brake fluid. Now, using our 9mm wrench, we are going to open up the bleeding valve.
You will see that the old brake fluid starts coming out. Along with it, you will see some bubbles. The key here is to let the brake fluid come out until you see no bubbles. After that, just use your 9mm wrench and tighten back the bolt.
After repeating this process for all of the wheels in the order that we mentioned before, we're finishing up with this one, the front driver's wheel.
In this footage, you can see really clear that when bleeding the brakes, our goal is to get rid of all the air that is in the line, and this line is the one that busted a couple weeks ago, so I'm assuming that a lot of air got in the line. And here you can see how clear the fluid is with no bubbles. So now we tighten the valve and we are done. We cut most of the fluid, but if there's any small spilling, then just clean it up really quick. Then make sure to torque your lug nuts properly.
Remove the brake bleeder hose and the cap that we just used that's on the master cylinder. It is very important to make sure that the brake fluid level is in between that maximum and minimum markers that are on the master cylinder reservoir. So here we're removing a little bit of the fluid to make sure that it falls right in between those two markers. replace the cap on the master cylinder reservoir and make sure to clean up any excess spills that might have happened during the process of that brake fluid because it is corrosive.
And the very last thing is to put this plastic cover back on the car. Now that we've completed the process of bleeding the brakes, we're going to take the car for a test drive. Make sure to do this wherever there is no traffic and it's a safe area in case the brakes are still not functioning properly. And yes, our brakes are good now, so we are finally done. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all found this video pretty useful.
Yes, and if you found it useful, hit the like button down below, let us know in the comments, but most importantly, subscribe because we have lots of new videos coming out very shortly.
Yes, see you soon.
Bye.